Again, like he portrayed, I was very worried that he would circle back around and try something more.
All right, court calls the people of the state of Michigan versus Demetrius Alexander Burks, 254610 FY. Appearances, counsel.
Please sit over for the people.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm going to remain seated. I'm Jeff Harrison. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Burks, and he's with me at the table.
And we are here for a preliminary examination. Is there any resolution in this matter?
There is not.
Any preliminary matters?
I don't think so, Your Honor.
All right, your first witness, Ms. Dole.
Thank you. I call Sir Jordan Dickinson. Your Honor, do you need me at the podium?
Wherever you're comfortable at.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Dickinson, if you can work your way up here to this chair next to me. And before you have a seat, if you'll turn, face me and raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
All right, you may have a seat. And whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Your Honor, do you mind if I remain seated for questioning?
That's fine.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Dickinson.
Good afternoon.
Can you state and spell your name for the record, please?
Jordan Dickinson, JORDANDICKINSON.
Thank you. Mr. Dickinson, where do you reside?
609 C.
Is that where you were located? Is that where you were on October 30th of 2025?
It is.
What, if anything, occurred that day? Let's say that afternoon, I'm sorry.
I was assaulted and battered.
Okay. Let's go back a little bit before we get to that. Did anybody approach your residence that afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me what happened with regards to that incident.
So I had gotten off of work. I was outside speaking with my mother, making plans for my son's second birthday. Neighbor kids came across the street. So my son and my girlfriend, they came out to join us. So we were playing in the yard. A man approached our house on the sidewalk. He stopped just short of our driveway and never once made eye contact to me, but locked eyes on my family and neighbors across the sidewalk from me. When I told them to get behind me, come over here, he proceeded to approach them and not me. Where at that point, I kind of got in between both the man and my family and neighbor kids. I told him that he needs to leave and continue down the sidewalk. I gestured in that direction, the way he was originally traveling. I told them to go inside the house. Initially, he started to walk the way that he had originally been headed. He then turned around and tried to cut between me and my house to make it to the side door, which everybody went in. Whereas again, I placed myself in between in my front yard to block, his path towards the side door. At that point, he threw his stuff on the ground and attempted to strike me. I put up my left arm in defense. He hit my left arm. I pushed him back to defend myself from any further strikes. At that point, my girlfriend came out. I told her to call 911 and I told her to throw the garden shovel, which she threw about, I don't know, 15, 20 yards away from me. At that point, once he realized that something had been thrown into the grass behind me, he collected his things and went on his way. I attempted to get a description for 911, which my girlfriend was in contact with at that time.
Well, let me interrupt you, and I
Yep.
apologize for that, but let me kind of ask a few details with regards to what happened. You said that this gentleman threw his things down. Can you describe what those things are?
I can't with certainty. It looked like cloths of some sort, whether it be clothing, blankets, something of that nature. I don't know if there were things inside of it. It was kind of all bundled up, if you will, carried like that.
Any other items?
Not that I know of, no.
You didn't observe a backpack?
That I honestly don't remember.
Okay. All right. And you said you tried to get a description to law enforcement. What description was that?
He was wearing jeans. His dress shoes were very apparent. His coat had like black shoulders on it and was gray. It was basically just from what I could see, being down the block at that point.
Being what?
But being a little ways down the block from me at that point.
Okay. Did you describe whether it was a male or a female?
I tried to, yes.
Okay. And what did you what was your description? Was it a male or a female?
Male.
Okay. Was there any description as to race, height, weight, any other details?
I mean, I tried to give the best description I could. Again, just guessing on a height and other characteristics like that, yes.
And what were the characteristics that you described?
I would have said average build, skinny guy, dark complected.
And what happened after he walked away?
I got a description and I saw him double back towards the way he was coming from originally. So I was a little worried about him kind of like coming back around the block or something of that nature. So I turned around, went down the same sidewalk that the incident happened in front of my residence. Went to the outside, the corner that my neighbors live on. And I just sat and observed, saw him come back down. Once he saw me, he acted as if he was approaching once again. So I, at that point, gave out the road sign intersection to my girlfriend to try and get the dispatch. She was still on the call, which he then turned back around and then cut back towards the street going towards Shell.
The Shell gas station. Okay. And do you see the person that assaulted you in court today?
I do.
Can you tell me where he is seated and something he is wearing?
Is sitting right there in orange.
Is that at the defense counsel table?
Yes.
May the record reflect that the witness identified the defendant?
Mr. Harrison, any objection?
None.
This shall so reflect.
And did you have any contact with law enforcement after you observed the defendant walking away towards Shell?
I did. I had basically, I didn't want to go into the parking lot or anything. That was about it, but I did think that if I kind of stood on the corner, Mitchell Street is right there. And I could be behind where the CAPS building, I don't know what else to call that building, but call it the CAPS building. So I could stay there on the corner and that basically I could see whichever way the police were coming from that vantage point. That I was contacted then right by the CAPS building.
And who were you contacted by?
Sergeant Hicks.
Okay. And did you inform Sergeant Hicks of what happened?
to the best of my abilities, I did. As we started, he basically told me he had to go help his partner. And so I asked him, do you have my address? I'll just go home and I can wait there. And then you can make contact with me later, which he then did.
Okay, and before he left, did you give him a general description of
I
the
did.
person who assaulted you?
I did,
And you gave him the direction of where he went?
correct.
And did you give him a brief account of what happened?
I did. I tried to make it as quick as possible, because again, once he stated, he had to go help his partner. I figured that was, more important than all of the details. So I gave him a brief statement to the best of my abilities.
Thank you.
Mr. Harrison?
Okay, let me see if I got this straight. You're outside, the guy comes walking up the sidewalk. And your first instinct is that he's there to do you harm.
No,
You told him to leave. Go about your business, keep moving, nothing to see here.
so initially, my girlfriend repeated to tell him that we have a dog. The dog wasn't mean or any such anything. So when he did not progress in his travel, I called everybody to my side to, if anything, make it less obstructive to have a family split on both sides of the sidewalk.
Okay, so then you also testified that he quote unquote assaulted you.
Correct.
What did you mean by that?
I mean, he hit me.
He hit you or he
and
attempted to
did
hit you?
both.
Okay. Was that before or after you pushed him?
That was before.
Okay, so your version of events is a man walks up to proximity to your family. He stops, so you warn him that you have a dog, you tell him to leave, and then you position yourself so that he has to encounter you.
Incorrect. I
Okay.
did not warn him that I had a dog. My girlfriend told him the dog is
Okay,
a very sweet dog, very nice, and that he need not worry about the dog.
okay, so you said, we have a dog, but you don't need to worry about it.
Correct.
That was your girlfriend. The only words you ever said to him was leave.
No, I said, Girls, come get behind me." And then
Okay.
he approached the girls further.
And then your testimony is unprovokedly, he tried to hit you and you blocked the blow with your hand.
Correct.
Then there was pushing and you went down to the CAPS building, which it's kind of a gray brick building.
Correct.
It's in close proximity to the Shell station.
Correct.
You went there because that's where you were following
Again,
this person?
so I have two directions to possibly make it to Mitchell Street, which would be the most likely route the police would take. Or through Cedar Street or the other intersection from up by the hospital. I can make all three
Okay.
of those and be visible to the police from there.
Why did you think you had to move away from your property at that juncture?
Again, like he portrayed, I was very worried that he would circle back around and try something more. And so by keeping a very wide distance, I just tried to make sure that he wasn't sneaking through the yards or trying to come back
So
towards our property.
he walked away from your property
Correct.
and you, in a sense, I don't want to put words in your mouth, I don't want to make it anything it isn't. You, in a sense, followed him down to the proximity of Mitchell Street. I don't know what the cross street is there. It doesn't matter. What street is your house on again? I didn't hear you the first time, so I
That's
make
my
sure I
house.
got it. Okay. And instead of staying at home, you chose to, in effect, pursue this person down to the proximity of the Shell station.
I chose to observe him to
Okay.
make sure that like I witnessed, he wasn't turning back.
I got you. So what was the significance of the Shell station?
That was the closest point where I last saw him. And so at that point,
Okay.
again, I did not want to go any farther. I wanted to make myself visible and
Logical place for somebody to go. You can buy coffee and cigarettes and soda pop and,
I would at least say that that's true.
okay. And you encountered Sergeant Hicks when you were in front of the CAPS building, as you described it.
I wouldn't say I was in front.
Okay.
Of the CAPS building.
Right there.
I had basically crossed the street from Cedar to make it to that side
How far had you gone from your house on C?
block.
1 block is all?
block.
Okay. All right, okay. That's why I'm racking my brain because I can't picture where Cedar Street is in my head. but
They're very small little tight.
I'll drive over
roads.
there tonight. I'll look at it. Okay. All right, thank you. Nothing further at this time.
Ms. Dahl?
Thank you. So you stated that, you followed him to observe him, correct?
Correct.
To see where he went?
Well, yes.
And is that because you were worried he might come back?
Jackson leaving.
I believe you stated earlier that you wanted to make sure he wouldn't circle back around, correct?
Correct.
Now, what is it about, his demeanor and his actions that made you think that he might come back?
He was very visibly intoxicated. And the way I can say it is, as a adult man who has a family, you learn to pick up on body language and cues from people, and the demeanor in which he fidgeted and stared down both these young minors and my pregnant girlfriend, is unsettling. Was unsettling not just to me, but it was frightening. That's something that you feel that I have personally felt in any other threatening circumstances. And from his focus on them, I just felt it was necessary to move them out of from in front of me and into behind.
And you said that he was intoxicated, or clearly intoxicated in your words. Can you describe what made you think he was intoxicated?
For the short time that I observed him approaching our house down the sidewalk, he couldn't even stay on the sidewalk. He stumbled, he tripped, not all the way down, but would have to catch himself. He highly fidgety when he stopped and started to stare. He swayed and swayed. It's just not. It was very visible that he was.
Have you seen intoxicated people in the past? In
I
your life?
have.
And it looks similar?
I would say so, yes.
I don't have any further questions.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Permanent or temporary?
I'm sorry,
Permanent or temporary?
permanent.
All right, you are free to go about your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dahl, your next witness.
Can I call Sergeant Zach Hicks?
Sergeant, you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may have a seat. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Can you please state your name for the record?
Zachary Hicks, Zachery, last Hicks,
Where are you employed?
the City of Cadillac Police Department.
And what is your job with the city of Cadillac?
Police sergeant.
Okay. Were you working on October 30th of 2025 in the city of Cadillac?
I was,
And what were you wearing that day?
that's full police uniform,
Right, and were you driving any vehicle?
a fully marked police vehicle.
Did you have any occasion to come in contact with Demetrius Burks that day?
I did.
And how did you identify him as Demetrius Burks?
He provided his identification card.
And that identification card stated his name was Demetrius Burks.
Correct.
Do you see him in court today?
I do.
Can you please point him out and state what he is wearing?
At the defense table wearing orange.
May the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
Mr. Harrison,
I have no objection.
which will still reflect.
You. So what caused you to come into contact with Mr. Burks on October 30th of 2025?
We were dispatched to an assault and battery complaint at 6. A male carrying blankets had left the area going north from that location.
And was there any report as to where he might be or where he might be going?
Dispatch said just north from that location. Once we got in the area, I briefly made contact with the victim, and he said he thought he was in the Shell station.
Okay. All right, and when you made contact with the victim, was that Mr. Dickerson?
Yes,
Dickinson, I'm sorry.
yes, that was who was just speaking.
And were you able to get a brief description of what happened from him?
He told me he was assaulted and
Objection, it's hearsay and I don't really care, but
I'm not asking for what was said, I'm just asking if you got a brief description of what happened and a description of the suspect.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. I'll allow the question. Sergeant, if you can just answer that question.
yes.
And then what happened then?
I went over to the Shell gas station where my partner had already started making contact with Mr. Burks.
All right, so your partner made contact with Mr. Burks before you,
Yes,
right? And do you know if the contact was made at the Shell gas station?
I believe they were walking out of the Shell gas station when I arrived on scene.
And the Shell gas station, is that in the city of Cadillac?
It is,
And that's in the county of Wexford,
it is,
in the state of Michigan?
it is.
Thank you. So what was Mr. Burke's demeanor when you made contact with him, when you approached him?
So I was observing while my partner was talking with him, but he appeared to be, I would call it like a roller coaster of emotions. He was upset at one point and then he was okay. And then he was upset again. He was obviously unsteady on his feet. He was using the building and the balance. Very slow movements. In my training and experience, he appeared to be intoxicated.
Okay. And you said that your partner and Mr. Burks were coming out of the Shell gas station when you first approached, right?
That's what I recall.
Is that in a public place?
Yeah, it would be right outside in the sidewalk, there, right in the parking lot of that. area.
And who is your partner?
Officer Bruss,
And who is he, what department is he an officer with?
City of Cadillac Police Department,
And how is he dressed?
same as me, full police uniform.
Was he operating any vehicle when he arrived at the location?
A fully marked police vehicle.
So at that point, when you made contact with Mr. Burks, what were you and your partner investigating?
Assault and battery complaint.
And was Mr. Burks a suspect of that complaint?
Yes, he was.
And why was he a suspect?
He matched the description and the location. We were told that subject went.
Did he have any items with him?
I believe he had a backpack and some blankets.
Was that consistent with what the suspect description given to you was?
Yeah.
Now, did Mr. Burks make any statements that confirm that he was in some kind of confrontation with another person that evening?
I recall hearing him saying that he didn't do anything wrong. But while I was standing there observing, to me, it sounded like he was in the location where he said he was, where the caller said it was.
Now, at that point, what did you and your partner do?
So Officer Russ told the subject that he was gonna be detained while we continue to investigate. He was placed in handcuffs behind his back.
And why was he detained?
He was a suspect in a crime.
After he was detained and the handcuffs were placed on him, what, if anything, did you observe?
Officer Russ started doing an exterior pat down for weapons. Our intention was to put him in our patrol car while we continue to investigate.
And is it your department policy to do a pat down before placing somebody in a patrol car? And why would you do a pat down on a detained person?
To check for weapons. Based on his demeanor and I didn't feel comfortable leaving my partner there with him alone, unrestrained or not in the vehicle while I go further investigate. For officer safety and to check for weapons, that's why he's patted down.
And what happened while he was being patted down?
He started resisting and pulling away, yelling at us. At that point, he was pushed up against the patrol car to gain gain control so we could continue. And at that point, I advised him to be under arrest.
And what was he under arrest for?
At that point, resisting obstructing.
Do you know if Officer Brust had any injuries as a result of this incident?
He did. He had a scrape on his knee.
And did you personally observe that?
I did.
Just to be clear, this all happened on October 30th of 2025. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Harrison?
You were the second officer on the scene. Officer Brust, it's Brust or Brust?
Brust.
Brust, I always want to say Brust for some reason. Had already engaged this person, you later determined to be the defendant here.
Right.
Okay. So all of the testimony that you gave was stuff that you observed. Anything wrong with their interaction up until that point?
What?
Did he appear to be answering the officer's questions?
Sometimes not.
You said, you've talked a lot about his demeanor, but let's call it what it is. He was intoxicated. He's a drunk guy. That appeared to be a drunk guy. And that's how you approach the situation for safety and otherwise, right?
Right.
You behave differently around people you believe to be intoxicated than you might otherwise.
Because I've seen
Sure,
how they can go
right.
very nice and cordial to not nice and cordial.
Or as you've also described it, they exhibit a roller coaster of emotions.
Right.
At some point, Officer Brust put his hands on the person. You described it as a pat down.
Correct.
And that was the point at which he said, "Don't touch me. Leave me alone. Get off me." Words to that effect.
Something like that, correct.
Okay. And Your response was you loaded him in the white car that Russ brought to the scene?
Correct, that is the car he went into eventually, yes.
Yeah, it was a white SUV, says Cadillac Police on the side. And then he was presumably taken to the jail.
Correct.
And at that point, he was under arrest for R&O, resist and obstruct. Police officer?
Until further investigation.
Sure, right. Okay. Do you recall at any point if Miranda was given?
I don't recall.
I don't recall either. Okay. For what it's worth. Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Ms. Dahl?
I just want to get the timeline correct. So when you approached and saw Mr. Burks and your partner, he was asked questions regarding the incident, is that correct?
Yeah, they were talking about what happened.
And at some point there was, he was detained.
Correct.
And he was placed in handcuffs, correct?
Correct.
And did the pat down occur after he was placed in handcuffs or before?
After.
And was he resisting when he was placed in handcuffs?
He did not resist when he was placed in handcuffs. He resisted during the exterior pat down.
And it was once he started resisting from the pat down is when you determined to place him under arrest, correct?
Correct. At that point, I told him he was under arrest. And then I started doing a full search as we would for anybody that we would arrest. And at that point, more resisting obstruction occurred after that.
Can you describe what that obstruction and resisting was?
So after he was placed up against a patrol car to gain control, and he was advised he was under arrest, we started doing a full search. During that search, he started pushing and pulling away from us to the point where we had to take him down to the ground to maintain control and finish our search. After that, he was sat up and he was placed in the patrol vehicle. And he sat down in the patrol vehicle, but he would not put his feet in the patrol vehicle. We had to force his feet in the patrol vehicle. When he was kicking and moving around that.
Okay, thank you. No further questions?
Mr. Harrison?
I have no regrets. Thank you.
Sergeant, you may step down. Ms. Dahl, any additional proofs?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Harrison, any proofs?
I have no proofs, Your Honor.
Argument? Ms. Dahl?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I believe I have proven by a preponderance, by a probable cause standard, that assault, resist, obstructing police officer occurred in City of Cadillac, County of Wexford, State of Michigan, upon Officer Rust and Sergeant Hicks, but with regards to the charge, the Officer Rust who was patting him down. Based on the testimony, Mr. Burks was a suspect of an assault and battery. The officers made contact with the victim briefly, got another description and got some description as to where the suspect went. Suspect was found in the exact area where he was told he was heading. The suspect matched the description physically and with the items that were with him. Brooks matched the description given of the suspect. Officers made contact with him. He made some statements. He looked intoxicated. Officers then detained him to get more information and have further conversation with the victim and investigate this crime. While he was being detained, he was handcuffed and patted down for weapons for officer safety. Sergeant Hicks testified that he did not feel safe to leave Mr. Burks based on his demeanor alone with another officer to try to further investigate this crime. And as Mr. Burks was being detained, he pulled away from the officers as he was patted down. And that was the resisting the officers' lawful acts in investigating this crime, the assault and battery crime. Which resulted in him further resisting from the officers after he was placed under arrest for resisting. So I believe that the people have proven by a probable cause standard that the crime occurred. Both the victim of the assault and battery and the officer identified Mr. Burks here in court as the person who was involved in the incident on October 30th of 2025. Thank you.
Mr. Harrison?
It seems to me what we had here today was an individual who was intoxicated, who denied being involved in the underlying crime and wasn't terribly excited about being taken into custody for a crime that he asserted he didn't commit. I guess if you look at the statute, it doesn't take much to commit or resist and obstruct a police officer, but there were two of them. One of him, he was already in handcuffs. And by the officer's own testimony, he was placed in the police car and taken to the jail. I don't think this rises to the level contemplated by the statute that will constitute the felony charge here that's been lodged. Thank you.
Any rebuttal, Ms. Dahl?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Harrison is correct that it does not take much to rise to the level of a resist and obstruct. We also look at that from the angle of whether what the officers were doing were lawful. Sergeant Hicks had testified that the defendant was placed in handcuffs behind his back as a detention purpose. This was essentially because of the assault that had happened, or the alleged assault that had happened earlier. And then a pat down begins, presumably looking for weapons that may be on, or other instruments that could harm the officers. However, there was no reasonable articulation as to why they suspected Mr. Burks to have weapons. It was a fisticuff fight. There were no threats made as far as using weapons. Had the pat down occurred before he was placed in handcuffs, that might be a different situation. But once he's placed in handcuffs, I believe that the threat is more removed, and without the reasonable suspicion that he was having armed or was armed in some way, I do not find that the pat down would have been lawful. And as such, I do not find that the people have met their burden in count number 1, and the court will dismiss that charge without prejudice. The case will go forward on the assault and battery and disorderly drunk. Anything for the record, Mr. Harrison?
No, nothing further.
Ms. Dahl?
I would like to be heard on bond, but I anticipate that Ms. Dell will ask me to file a written motion, so I will do so.
Ms. Dahl?
Your Honor, I believe you asked if I have anything further for the record. I do just want to point out that Sergeant Hicks did testify that for officer safety. He was patted down for weapons because he was going to be placed in a patrol car. It's for officer safety purposes, so I just want to make that record clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comment regarding the request for a bond motion? I believe Mr. Harrison was going to file a motion. I think he's asking whether or not you would have an objection to having a verbal.
I was
motion.
asking in a roundabout way if I could be heard today, if that's. I was being sort of flipped, so I apologize.
I don't object to a bond motion.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Harrison?
I apologize to the court then for my flippant remark. Mr. Burks is now being held on two relatively low-level misdemeanor charges. He does have a matter pending in Isabella County, which I don't know if they have a hold on him. I believe that they do. It's my understanding that he recently entered a plea in that case, and he will be sentenced forthwith in that matter. I need to have a conversation with his attorney in that matter as to that development. We knew this was coming up. I'd like to see him have his bond reduced to PR here, so that if it becomes necessary for him to travel to Isabella, he can do so. And they can maintain him down there in terms of pretrial release. He has some ties to this community. His father is a member of this community. He does not appear to have employment in this area. And he does have charges from a couple of different places around, at least around mid-Michigan in the fairly recent past. I don't see any reason, anything that would prevent him from appearing in court for this matter, for that matter, in the Isabella matter. Which I believe that's in circuit court in front of Judge James, is it not? Okay, in Isabella County, and I believe that sentencing will be next month at some point.
December 18th.
Okay, December 18th. Thank you.
Ms. Dole?
Thank you, Your Honor. As the court is aware, Mr. Burks has an extremely long criminal history. He has multiple felonies. He was charged with habitual fourth, and I believe he may have more than that. He's been in prison before, if I recall correctly. He was extremely intoxicated in this situation and is charged not only with assaulting somebody, but also eventually his behavior led to him fighting with officers or pushing and pulling away from officers, resulting in officer injury. I believe he is a danger to the public. I believe that he is a flight risk, as he has multiple charges all over the state. And so I am objecting to the bond being amended at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. So the defendant was arraigned on October 31st. Bond was set at $10,000 cash surety with the standard conditions. Defendant's criminal history from 05, there was an aggravated assault. 06, minor with any BAC. The driving license suspended and visibly impaired. 07, looks like 2 delivery or manufacture of a narcotic less than 50 grams. 16, an unarmed robbery. 2 more unarmed robberies in 16. 24, an assault and battery, resist and obstruct, disturbing the peace. 25, disturbing the peace, and 13, a receiving and concealing. The praxis, when I removed the felony charge from it, still scores him at a risk level 5, so he drops from high to medium risk. The fact remains, though, that defendant, from what I heard today, I think the likelihood of a conviction on an assault and battery charge, although I don't put my own judgment in there, but I think the conviction stands a good chance. And with his assaultive history, I do find that he is still a threat to the community. I will modify bond, however, to be a $5,000 cash surety bond with the same conditions. Thank you. Anything else?
Nothing at this time.
All right. Mr. Burks, you can go with the corrections officer. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Please do let us know in the comments what you thought of this video. If you'd like to support what we do here, the best way to do it is to pick up some of our merch. You can find it at courtroomfiles.com.